So as you guys know, I love to bring new watches to the channel, and today I have a very interesting chronograph to show you. This is from Blanchard Watch Company, and this is called the Gentleman Racer. And you could see some of the inspiration from this watch is definitely from the Daytona, the Rolex Daytona. You do get a Panda dial, but it is a bicompax layout. This is actually a fully lume dial as well. Normally, I leave the watch in its packaging and then I remove it from its packaging through sort of an unboxing and first impressions video like this. However, what I wanted to do is actually show you the watch and then show you the packaging. So the point of this watch is that it has a customizable system for the bezel. Also, it comes with obviously a NATO strap, but that NATO strap comes with an extension. It's meant for racing, so they're making it a real tool watch, something that actually could be used in the field as something that is going to be raced with, which is kind of cool. And the owner of this brand actually does use this watch for racing, which is cool. He is, I believe, an SCCA member, and he does some racing with his watch. So very quickly, I'm going to show you the packaging. So this is the watch. It sort of has that Daytona aesthetic. It has a friction-fitted bidirectional bezel. It's 41.5 millimeters wide. It has a 49 millimeter lug-to-lug. It's a little bit bigger than that on the bracelet that they supplied, and I'll show you that bracelet a little later on. And then 13.5 millimeters thick. You get a screwed-in crown, which is signed, of course, and a screwed-in case back, which is also signed. I'll do close-ups of all of that so you can see. The case itself is brushed, and there is very little polishing on the watch. There's a little bit of polishing around the bezel. Other than that, it's very sporty. You have polishing on the tips of the lugs and pushers. And then you get drilled lugs, which is also really nice. Really nice case profile. It looks a lot like, sort of the Daytona case, but it has a lot of its own sort of personality. Red accents, just the logo there at 12 o'clock with a really interesting triangle. That triangle is sort of a negative effect. So this is a fully lume dial, as I mentioned, so you get that. At the 12 o'clock looks really cool. A date at the 6 o'clock, and then some script just above that, and I'll do close-ups for that so you guys can see. Very interesting as well. Two different chronograph hands. So you have a red chronograph hand and then a silver chronograph hand. I'm going to start up the chronograph so that we could see a little bit of the action here. And as I mentioned, it is a VKX or a VK64, excuse me. So this is a Mecha Quartz, Seiko-made Mecha Quartz chronograph. So you do get, I think, 4 ticks per second. So it is a sweep second, which is pretty smooth. Very, very cool. Very quickly, let me show you the packaging, and then we'll talk about price while we're looking at the packaging. The packaging, as I mentioned, is a leather pouch. Inside the leather pouch, there's a bunch of different compartments. So normally the watch would be in this compartment. However, this is an upgrade NATO strap, which is an extra $10. It's a really nice, thick seatbelt strap. Really nice buckle on it. Just a really nice strap for $10. You cannot get a strap like this for $10. It's really nice. Then you get tools. Those tools are obviously for changing the bezel, changing the straps, which is really nice. So they give you an Allen key. The Allen key is very easy just to unscrew the bezel. There are 3 little bolts in there. It comes right out, the ceramic bezel. You put it another one in, you screw it right back in. The only thing I would say is that you're using a metal little Allen key and a metal screw. You have to be very, very, very careful when doing it, not to strip those little bolts. If I could make a suggestion, I would suggest they gave an extra bolt or 2 just in case, because number 1, they are easy to strip, and number 2, they're easy to lose because they are very, very small. And if you do, then you can't put your bolt back. It's not great. So that's one suggestion I would make. And then, as I mentioned, this is the extension. So you can see really up close on here, it's a leather strap. So on the bottom side, it's a black leather. On the top side, a brown leather. It feels almost like microfiber on the top. It feels really, really, really soft and nice. And it just says there, on there, racing strap extension for track use only. And then it's signed by the brand. Nice little strap. I really like it. Could you use this for travel? I guess you could. You could definitely put a watch in here. You might be able to fit 2 watches in here. Definitely not in here, but you could put tools and other things, maybe another strap in this little slot. I wouldn't put more than probably 2 watches in here, maybe a watch here and a watch here, so it doesn't scratch up, because you do get this protective flap for the watch when it's sitting in this little area, so that does work. Then you have 3 more slots here, 4 more slots, excuse me, and that's for any of the bezel options you choose to get. Now, there is also a bracelet option. That bracelet is right here. I don't have that in here as of yet. So I'll throw it on the bracelet, and then I'll actually switch up the bezels so you guys can see one of the other bezels. The other bezel I like the most is this sort of sterile bezel. They call it the tuxedo bezel. This is the 60-minute counter, and then there are 2 other bezels, endurance race bezel, and I believe there's another race bezel. They have actual track names on there. It's pretty damn cool. I'll do a picture of each one so you guys can see as we are talking about it. So $295 on this strap with 1 bezel. If you want the bracelet, it's an extra $50. If you want an extra bezel, it's an extra $20. Each bezel is $20 extra. So let's say you wanted a package with a bracelet and a bezel, just go from $295 to $365, excuse me, and that's what you'll be paying. But the way it will ship is like this. So you will not get any of this. However, you will get the tools, you will get the watch, you will get this strap, you will get this extender. If you want the extra $10 NATO strap, you get that for $10, extra $50 for the bracelet. I highly recommend getting the bracelet because I love bracelets, obviously. And then if you want any other bezels, an extra $20 each. So the way I would go with it is definitely getting the bracelet. Obviously, I think it always works. And then you have the NATO for when you actually want to use it for racing. So very quickly, what I'm going to do is we're going to change the bezel, change the strap into the bracelet. Then we'll change one of the bezels. I like this tuxedo bezel or sterile bezel because I think it looks the best. And then we will do a quick lume shot. So here it is on the sterile bezel, the tuxedo bezel. Honestly, this for me is probably the way to wear it. It looks awesome on here. I really like it. The bidirectional bezel is very, very smooth. It is friction fitted, so there are no clicks, but it really is very, very nice. Fits very nice, feels very nice on here. Just a really good looking watch in my opinion. I really like the look of this watch, and I really like it with that sterile bezel. Just the pip there and then a little red triangle. Let me throw it on my wrist so you guys can see what it looks like on my 7.5-inch wrist, and then we will do a very quick lume shot. So today I am wearing the Tudor P01 Prototype 01 on a bracelet. I'm going to be doing a video about this very, very soon. Actually, I'm going to be doing an unboxing, and then I'm going to be doing a video about how I got this on a Tudor bracelet. Very, very cool watch. Very interesting watch. A tool watch, just like this, which is pretty awesome. Now, the bracelet on here is very nice. You get the typical micro brand base bracelet, I would say here. So this is not the typical micro brand watch, but you do get the typical micro brand bracelet. It's an oyster bracelet, very typical buckle on here, 4 positions of micro adjust. It's very functional. It is signed. But it's nothing too crazy. I do like it, and it's very functional, especially when it's a $50 upcharge. It makes no sense getting this on just the strap. I would absolutely get this bracelet as well, even though it looks really good on that strap. I think it looks really good on this bracelet, and for 50 bucks, it's a nice bracelet. It's not a crappy bracelet. You have solid end links. You get drilled lugs, so it's very easy to change. Solid links. It's all brushed, finished very, very nicely. And milled clasp, which is, you know, the typical micro brand buckle, as I call it. So 41.5 millimeters on my 7.5-inch wrist, 49 millimeter lug to lug, about 54 millimeters if you're measuring with those male end links. It wears like a 42 millimeter watch, I would say, and you get that 13.5 or 13.4 millimeter thickness is what I measured with that slightly domed sapphire crystal. So a lot of specs here for a really good price. I think $295 is the starting price. I think that's a really good price for this watch, and it has a lume dial. So let's do a quick lume shot and then wrap up the video. So a lume dial never really fails. It's pretty incredible. The hands are lumed. They didn't really need to do that. The minute track is lumed, very, very bright. It's just it's a torch. I think a lot of brands are getting the loomed dial right. It looks bright and just really, really cool. All of the hands are loomed. Even the second hand, you have a little lume on, and then the sub registers, which are loomed as well. You have a really nice dial on here. It's a white dial, obviously. It's a very vibrant white dial. And then you have these black sort of sub registers that are textured, which look really good. And then you have a red hand on that register at 9 o'clock, and then you have a silver hand at the one at 3 o'clock. So really interesting. I'll do close-ups of all of that so you guys can see big sword hands on here. I think I would have went with something a little bit more delicate on this watch, maybe a little bit more, I don't know, sporty rather than classic like a sword hand, maybe just like a stick hand or something like that. But it does work. I think it looks pretty good, and they're big and they're polished, very, very easy to read. And I love this ghost bezel. Well, I guess you wouldn't call it a ghost bezel, the sterile bezel. And that even has a pip, so you could see if you really wanted to time something, not that hard. Very, very nice watch. I really enjoy it. And I think it's very, very good looking. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. They are on Kickstarter right now. If you are interested in this watch, check out their Kickstarter. I believe they are going to be funded. However, I believe they have just a few more days left, and they are very, very close to being funded. Definitely check out the Kickstarter below. I will throw a link up. And I believe that they're going to be delivering their watches pretty soon after the Kickstarter is funded. So if you are interested in this watch, definitely get in the early bird special, because they are going to be going up in price as they go along. So at $295, I think this is definitely a very good price to get in on. But tell me what you think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.